Hello there, my name is Jamie Moore and you're very welcome to our preview of the SSE Airtricity Under-17 National League Final between Shamrock Rovers and Behemians SKB, which will be on Monday evening at 7:30 in the UCD Bowl, being streamed live and in full and for free on FAI TV on the FAI YouTube channel in partnership with Doppler Media. We're going to preview the game in just a second with managers from both teams, Thomas Morgan of Shamrock Rovers and Derek Pender of Behemians SKB. But just to tell you a little bit more about the stream, so kickoff will be at 7:30. Our coverage will start at 7:10 with the commentary team of Oisín Langan and Conan Byrne. We'll have multi-angles, we'll have replays, graphics, and also we'll be staying on air after the final whistle to bring you the trophy lift and also an interview with the man of the match and also the manager of the winning team. The link will be on the FAI YouTube channel. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, there will be a very small crowd at this game, just one parent per player allowed in and some club officials plus media. So a lot of people who would have wanted to watch this game between two of the best teams in the country won't be able to be there in person, but you will be able to watch on YouTube. So the link will be available to send through your WhatsApp groups to your friends and family, etc. Let them know this game is on. The Under-17 final is on Monday at 7:30. We'll also bring you coverage on Tuesday night of the Under-19 final between Behemians and St Patrick's Athletic. That'll be brought to you by Oisín Langan and the Ireland Under-16 head coach Paul Ozam. And also on Wednesday, we're going to have the Women's Under-17 final from Athlone Town Stadium at 3 o'clock with myself, Jamie Moore, on commentary, and we'll confirm our co-commentator for that on Monday. So that's the details on the stream. And now let's preview the first game, the Under-17 National League final. In a few moments' time, we're going to hear from the Bohemians SKB boss, Derek Pender. But first, here's the Shamrock Rovers gaffer, Thomas Morgan.
All good, Jamie. Thanks very much. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, Tom. Loving the Christmas Santa in the background, and we didn't think we'd be previewing a Under-17 League final a couple of days before Christmas, but we are in the strangest year ever. So what's your thoughts on the evening ahead against Bohemians?
Yeah, as you say, it's a lead into Christmas week, as you said, but you wouldn't have seen that back in the early January when we started preparation for the start of the new year and the Under-17 League. So to be where we are at the end of the year, it's a great testament to everybody involved, in especially our club and every club involved, that we can get to finish the season off where we are at the end of the year. So really looking forward to Monday. Yeah,
it's strange that it's had to go as far as December. And like you said, everybody is so happy, people in the FAI, all the clubs, that the season has been able to be finished for the 17s and 19s. Unfortunately, not for the 13s and the 15s. But I suppose the year as well, the way it's been with the first phase of games and then a break and then the second phase of games and then a break and then we hear it's cancelled and then we hear it might be back and then we hear that the government are allowing it to happen and stuff. It has been strange. How have you found it as the manager and trying to keep in touch with the players and the parents and the club when there's so much uncertainty, really?
Well, honestly, I found it very hard. Also as a parent, as a boy that plays under 15, it's very difficult that they miss out on playing also, But from our point of view, as a coach and as a sort of a leader of the group, we just had to keep the boys motivated and be fair to the club and ourselves, every involved. It's a very professional setup, and every done, we prepared as you go along. We had a few little ups and downs, as you say, But listen, when you play football matches, you can't beat it, Jamie, And as I said to the players all along, even last week going to Cove and playing Waterford, a great game the other night. Played Cork then 2 months ago, and then we hit again. But to keep ticking over, keep doing what we're doing within the club, I think it's the benefit for the players long term, going forward. But from that point of view, it is tough because we all, as I said, we all just want to play. But to finish it off at the end of the season in a final is fantastic, So really, really look forward to it.
Yeah, the last few weeks particularly, you mentioned the game against Cork and then there's a big break and there's uncertainty and then you find out that you are going to be able to finish it, a very big win in Cove and then the victory over Waterford the other night to secure the final, and not being able to play friendly games because the rules state that, you can't play friendlies and maybe some in-house stuff was able to happen. But how did you find all that? And now it's like 3 games in a week or 3 games in 8 or 9 days leading up to the final, and for the lads themselves, given that they just have had so little actual competitive football this year, to get them up to scratch for these big matches,
Yeah, come here, listen, it is very difficult, They need to play more games, And we all know that, Games is where everything happens. But regarding our squad, we have a fantastic squad of players, up there. And my own group, we have 21 players that's in it. And it's obviously very, very difficult, But we try to use the squad as best we can. Lucky enough, the last 3 games we played, Cork City, Cove Ramblers, and Waterford, I used 16 players, So that's what it's about. If I could use 18 or use 19, I would, because you want to get the ball playing, and we have that level of player that that's what we can use and that's what we can do, like, you know what I mean? But regarding keeping going, when they're playing, we just tell them this is the game, like, you know what I mean? It's an important game, it's the next game, and sort of embrace it, like, you know what I mean? As you said, like, but during our own period, like on the club, we kept them ticking over, obviously through proper COVID guidelines as you do, like, you know what I mean? But you got to be as professional as you can and just keep the players going, like, you know what I mean? Because it's been as you said already, it's been a mad year, but for me, it's been a learning year for everybody as well, like, you know what I mean? Especially from a training point of view, you're training a lot with the end game of not playing much, but I think if you keep ticking over long term, as you see in our last few games, it benefit us as a group. We feel strong, we feel fit, we feel ready, like, to keep going, like, so testament to the group.
Yeah, the win the other night against Waterford 1-0. I think Sam Curtis was the man that got the winner, and that was a very different match and test for your team in comparison to the game in Cove just a couple of days previous. And I'm sure, given the type of test you'll get off Bohemians in the final, to have had such a tight one against Waterford and it going very, very close and being quite a tight game, I'm sure that has helped the lads get really ready for the final.
Yeah, as I said, like the Cove game, as I said, your Cove Waterford was 2-1, like, you know what I mean? So it was a very tight game. Cove played Cork City twice this year. Both games were quite close. I think Cove were leading at one stage. So to go down there and say that we got an early goal, went 1-0 up, and then as I said, we utilised our squad really, really well, like, you know what I mean, from coach's point of view. And you can see by the end of the game, we were still going strong because of the work we put in. And then the other night, same again, you're prepared in the same manner to Waterford, and Waterford, to be fair to them, it's a different type of approach to the game. They're obviously, if they won, they were into the final as well. So it's just that little feel around it as well, Jamie. Like, so the keeper was fantastic for them the other night, but we never stopped doing what we did, and positively got another clean sheet, which was really good for the group. Like, so, yeah.
What comes to mind, Thomas, when I say Shamrock Rovers against Bohemians in a big football match?
Well, everybody knows what that's about. Like, you know what I mean? As I said, I've unfortunately never played in that as a player. Like, you know what I mean? I obviously played with Pats and Shells, but the assistant with me at the moment, Ed Saul, will tell you all about that. He's a big Shamrock Rovers fan, like, you know what I mean? And everybody knows Rovers Bowls, and the way they finished this season 1-2 in the Airtricity League just summons where both of them at, like, you know what I mean? And regarding myself playing underage football, it's a fantastic game, it's a fantastic day for the players. It's a Dublin derby as well. And if we're going to be honest, Jamie, it's the best two teams that I think is finishing the final, which is a fantastic testament to both clubs, as I said. And I think it's going to be a fantastic game, like, you know what I mean, as I said. And obviously Belfield Bowl, it's a neutral venue, grass, fantastic, nice big pitch, and let's go and enjoy the game, enjoy the occasion.
Yeah, under the floodlights as well, and I'm sure the players themselves are going to be so excited and ready for it as well. And like, building up the kickoff on Monday, I'm sure you won't have to say too much to them in terms of that. You'll give them their game plan and their tactic and their set pieces. But in terms of the last few minutes before, as a coach myself, I love the 5 or 6 minutes when they come in after the warm-up and they've got the music blaring and you can just look into their eyes and they just have this focus, and they probably won't be ever more focused than they will be at around 7:25 before kickoff against Bows.
Exactly, Jamie. And the thing with it is, Jamie, you know yourself, and everybody knows in football, finals don't come around much, like, and when you do, you got to grasp it, you got to enjoy it, and you got to enjoy the occasion as well. And obviously then at the end you want to win, like, you know what I mean? As I said, like, in our group this year, we have a fantastic group of players which range from 15, 16 and 17-year-olds. So we've got some under 15s, under 16, under 17s, a mixture of boys born 2003, 2004, 2005, which is really, really good for their development, which is important. And this is just another stepping stone for them to go and develop by getting these competitive games at a vital time and further their development going forward in the game, like, you know what I mean? So, as you said, regarding preparation, like, as you know, Dexter probably said the same. You do your work, you do your homework on the other team, and then you go out and play, and then just go and express yourselves and enjoy the game.
Yeah, for people watching who might, see results on social media or might see the odd highlight of a goal but haven't seen very much of Shamrock Rovers under 17s, Thomas, what can people watching expect from your team and your players?
Well, first of all, obviously, the boys, like, we can play different systems and so on, but we've got a good array of talents. A lot of boys that will be around the international team, who people are fully aware of, would have represented the country over the last few years and still do. So regarding ability, we've got a mix of everything. As I said, I spoke about the ages of them. I said we've got good strikers, we've got some midfielders that are good, technically good, and as I said, it's all about development with them as well, and then give them a winning mentality as well. That, like, yeah, development is important, like, but I think when you're winning and you're successful as well, that brings the other side as well, Jamie. People can't underestimate that, like, you know what I mean? But regarding the group, we've got a fantastic group of players. I've been lucky enough to work with them since under 14s, under 15s, and now under 17s. And I can see them growing as sort of young boys at 13, 14, up to say 17 and so on. And long may continue.
Yeah, some top players in the group, and the same for Bohemians as well. I can't wait for the game. I must say it's going to be a cracker. And just lastly, Thomas, on the group and on the club as well. And when we speak to Dexter, we'll ask him about that as well. And, you know, Shamrock Rovers with the Shamrock Rovers 2 team in the first division last season, and the under 19s as well, of course. And like, there is a pathway there for the players to progress through. And this is something that the league has needed, when a player can join a club at 12, that he can see, or she can see in the women's game. We're going to cover the women's 17s final on Wednesday, that there is a pathway through the academy and into the first team. It's the same with St. Pat's, and I'll be involved luckily in the final myself on Tuesday night against Bohemians. And it's the same at Pat, same at Bow, Shamrock Rovers, Shells, as examples, and lots of clubs across the country. But for your own club, there are players there in your group who will play in the final, who've actually been involved in the first division team this season, sometimes been around the first team as well. And that's just brilliant for them, isn't it?
Brilliant, Jamie, as I say. And what it is it gives them, as I said, you need to look something, you need to have a goal at the end of it, and you need to have a pathway in place for everybody, that every player that comes into your club. And Shamrock Rovers have done that. Do you know what I mean? And I think, and the more to do that, the better. Like, as you see this year, like an example of 5 of our players would have started down in Cove Ramblers the last game of the season in the first division, and 5 of our players are in our squad this week for the game on Monday. Now, for them to go down there to Cove Ramblers, who we know is a really tough team, fighting for a place in the playoffs, to go down there and go and get a result down there for the club and playing that game, that, as I said, for their development and playing them type of games is going to do them really good. And I can't speak highly of that, like, you know what I mean? And it just shows us a pathway, and when the time is right for players to go up and play at that level, they will, like, you know what I mean? And you need to have it, whether you play 17s, 19s, and then you go up from there, wherever age you're at. Well, if you're good enough, as I said, you're young enough, as you say, whatever age, and it's just knowing when to put the players in. And I think, to be fair to the club this year, they've done it very, very, very well. And watched a few of the games, and they've played the right way. They've played similar to the way the first team play, and it's a fantastic tool to have, like, you know what I mean? And long may it continue.
Lastly, Tom, have you allowed yourself and the lads to picture 9:30 on Monday night with a trophy above your heads?
No, you can't look that far, Jamie. Like, you know what I mean? As I say, it's last year we had 2 finals against Pats under the 15s level, 2 fantastic games. As I said at the time, it was the best 2 teams in the league as well came together, and we lost out narrowly on both occasions, as I said. But regarding on Monday night, as I said, enjoy the occasion. Don't let it be overawed by it, but as I said, embrace it, and then let's see what happens from there.
So we're continuing our look ahead to the SSE Airtricity Under 17 National League final at the UCD Bowl on Monday evening. It's Shamrock Rovers against Bohemians SKB, and I'm delighted to be joined by the Bohemians manager, Derek Pender. Derek, how are you?
Good, Jay. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thanks. Thanks a million for jumping on. I'm sure all the players and yourself and everybody at the club is very excited ahead of the big kickoff. What's your thoughts on the evening ahead against Shamrock Rovers?
Oh yeah, all the lads are looking forward to it. It's been a tough year for them, obviously. Tough year for all the players in underage football and everybody involved. So it's a good reward that they get to play in the final now on Monday, and it's actually going ahead.
Yeah, it's been such a strange year for everybody in the world, really. But from a football point of view, Derek, in what was your first year as a manager, you retired from being the Bohemians captain around this time last year, probably, and you probably, when you were appointed for under 17 manager, you never expected to have the type of year that you've had. How have you found it yourself, and having to deal with everything extra on top of the football? Yeah,
look, obviously the year has been the year. Look, everybody, it's well documented what's gone on, and there's nothing we can do about that. But look, we're a little bit selfish, us footballers, managers, or whatever way you want to call it now. We just like to play football, and we're very down when it gets taken away from us. So it's been a good year. I've enjoyed it, really. You know, I was looking forward to getting in the manager. Obviously, you would have liked in a full year and a full calendar, plenty of games. That hasn't happened, but the lads have been great. The lads that I've been with, so it's credit to them that they've kept going, and now they have a reward with a final on Monday. You know. Yeah, even in the last week or so, there was still doubt with the guidelines and if the season would be finished. We found out that it looked like it was cancelled, and then we found out that the 17s and 19s was going to be able to finish, and the women's under 17s final, which is on Wednesday as well. So for you guys, like, had you stopped? Had the lads been, you know, spoken to about having a little bit of time off across Christmas, and then you had to jump back into train again and prepare for a big couple of weeks? We actually didn't stop. We were lucky. We were continuing on. The lads wanted to continue on. We gave them the option if they wanted to stop, but they all wanted to continue training. So as long as we were allowed to train, we kept training, and we were lucky that we did kept going. We didn't break up, so it was good that we didn't really have a break. First of all, probably the session on the Thursday night that we had was a little bit of a, you know, obviously wasn't a session that we were going to prepare for the game, but after that, that was probably the only session that you would say that wasn't what we normally do.
Yeah, the season overall, with the way it was structured, there was the initial group phase and then the second elite phase, and some teams, for their own reasons, decided not to play in those. So how would you sum up the year overall in terms of, those initial games, the break, and then the second set of games, then another little break, and now into, what is a massive game for everybody involved on Monday?
Look, it's been a difficult year, obviously. It's been more difficult for the players because they're young kids at the end of the day and all they want to do is play football. It's hard telling them, no, we can't train. No, there's no games. That's probably been the most difficult bit, in managing them and keeping their spirits up. But in fairness, the group have been very, very good. We've stuck together throughout the difficult year, and it's a great reward now that we have a big game to look forward to on Monday against Rovers, which is great for them.
What does Bohemians v Shamrock Rovers mean to you?
Well, as a player, I'm sure it's been well documented what it's like in the first team, stuff like that. And it's my first year as a manager, and it's under 17s and stuff like that. But it is what it is. The game, the title of the game, it never changes. I don't think it should change what age level you're at. So I'm sure there'll be a 40 encounter, and it'll be a good encounter. They've got a very, very good group of players as well there. So it'll be a good game.
Yeah, when you were the Bowls captain, I'm sure you didn't need too much extra motivation from your manager in the dressing room an hour and a half before you were about to go and play Shamrock Rovers. Now that you're in the other camp and you are the manager, what will the lads need, or will they need anything at all in terms of, obviously you'll give them a game plan and the tactics and stuff, but in terms of just, it's a final, it's a huge game, and it's the derby, and I'm sure, given you've gone from being the player sitting listening to the manager and now the manager trying to get the lads just the last words in their ear before the big kickoff.
Yeah, well, look, you can have your words and you can say whatever it is, but like the lads themselves they're very driven and very motivated group themselves. I've found that with them this year. Like they've been a great help to me, obviously in my first year of managing, and they don't need really much motivation when they're playing anybody. It's important that they go out and stick to the game plan and do what they've been doing all year. Obviously, it's a final. I don't think any team, regardless of who you're playing against, needs any extra motivation.
Yeah, it's just such a, if you were to look at the start of the season and you were to write down on paper what the biggest final might be, you would have a Dublin derby of some sort involved in it, and the fact that it is Shamrock Rovers against Bows in Dublin at the UCD Bowl as well. Understand the pitch is in really good condition. There hasn't been rugby on it recently. It's been live streamed for people who can't get to the game. I think it's just one parent allowed per player because of the COVID regulations. So it's a real nice end for the players, hopefully. Yeah,
it is, and it's great that it is getting live streamed for the people that can't be there, because there's plenty of interest in the game. Saying it to the lads this morning, it's not nice telling the lads, the only young lads, obviously, that only one of their parents can come to the game. I'm sure their parents are disappointed about it as well, but it's great that there's a bit of coverage on it, and hopefully there's plenty of people watching, and it's a good showcase for them watching. Yeah, it's a shame for the young lads, and unfortunately it is the way it is, and the rules are the rules which have to be followed. But the underage finals over the years, I'm sure you would have went to them when you were still a player. You would get, for that game on Monday night, there would be probably 2,000-3,000 people possibly at the game. So for the players, it's quite disappointing, but I'm sure they'll all just want to make their families and their friends proud. And if that's what we've all had to do in the last 6-7 months, is do some stuff virtually like this, and wherever the people will be watching the game, they'll still be cheering the team on, and I'm sure your players will know that. Oh, 100%. They all know that. I'm sure they're getting plenty of texts. They're getting tormented about who can go, and I'm sure their parents are fighting with each other now today about who's deciding on who's going to the game. So they'll know there's plenty of interest in it. It's a Rovers Bowls final, like you said, it's probably the biggest final that if you could have picked at this stage for this year. So they'll be looking forward to it. They are really looking forward to it.
Your most recent game on Wednesday was a 2-0 victory at home to UCD, Derek. For people watching who are going to watch the game that might not necessarily be too in-depth in the under-17 league, what can people expect from your team and your players?
Look, the UCD game was a difficult game for us. We had a couple of problems at the start of the game, but the lads went out and they done well. They won the game. They won it really professionally and kept a clean sheet. It's something that we've been trying to get them to do as well this year, is to try and keep clean and take pride in defending that side of the game, because they're very fiery and very explosive going forward. And that's what they'll see on Monday night, I'm sure.
And lastly, just on your job, Derek, and you've come, as I said, from player to manager now, and there's a number of players in the Bohemians first team who've come through the under-17s and the under-19s, and none more so probably than someone like Andy Lyons, who's playing right back for the first team in your position. He was in the team of the year this year, and 2-3 years ago, he was playing in under 17 finals and under 19 finals. We saw yesterday the announcement of the move for Danny Grant to Huddersfield Town, quite similar, came into the 19s and progressed through. There's a number of players at Bohemians who've been able to do that in recent years, and you're now at the other end, as opposed to being the captain trying to welcome to their first team. It's getting them ready for that push, and it's something that the club have, I'm sure, been quite happy with over the years, that there has been a good number of players come through the academy and jumped into the first team.
Oh, definitely. It's the proof was there, Jamie. It's a great pathway for the lads at Bowes, especially coming through the academy with the partnership, obviously, with Kevin's. This great group of players that they send on, and I've been given a really good group this year. Caffo has helped me with them players this year, and Rory obviously is involved as well. But going forward, going into the 19s, into the first team, I think with the group of players that are coming from 15s, 17s, 19s, that's the pathway. There's a proper pathway there when they see players like Ross Turney. He comes in, shows his face around training as well. With us at the 17s, Dawson's been there at Kevin's as well and went up to 19s and first team. He says Andy Lyons. Danny Grant is obviously, he came in and started at the under 21s. Now he's a great move to Huddersfield. The proof was there with players at Bowes, and they're given that chance when they're good enough and when they're ready.
Lastly, have you allowed yourself to think about 9:30 on Monday night and your team lifting the trophy?
No, I haven't. No, I can't think it can go that far away. Obviously, you have to give Rovers respect. They're a very, very good group. It'll be a really tough game for the lads, So I haven't thought about that. I'm just looking forward to the game and looking forward to the occasion of it.
Yeah, great stuff there from both Thomas Morgan and Derek Pender, the respective managers of Shamrock Rovers and Bohemians SKB under 17s. Kick-off at the UCD Bowl on Monday evening is at 7:30. Our live coverage on FAI TV on the FAI YouTube channel will begin at 7:10 with the commentary team of Oisin Langan and Conan Byrne. So we'll see you then for what should be a great game.